I don't want to play Paladins at night anymore. I keep so fun. All right, play. We are going to.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Bernardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert, as tempting as it was to explore ancient mysteries. There was a war going on. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Alright, so these are the 3 starting ones. I've done them all. Let's, oh, hang on.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The transcendent...
I need to change my thing down there. I need to change my camera. I need to see where I can put it on the screen. I think I'm missing something down there in the corner. Loading, loading, loading. I got my chill
As he
headset
set
on.
foot on the island, Renato could not help but feel a tinge of guilt. He'd left Lapino behind. He hoped the Mad Rabbit
I can
somehow
put it in
escaped
the
the
top
Ravens.
right. Let's actually, you know what? Let's do it in the left, bottom left. All right, we should be good.
He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had, he hoped they hadn't eaten him alive. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Right on our chest back here.
Sorry, mustache, thought Renato.
Alright, what do I got? I got gems. Level 3 crit. I got my sword energy, my shield breaker. What's new? Attack speed. Oops. I got lit up. Those things are very mean.
You blinked.
But you can just slice and dice them pretty easily. Should I go this way into the purple door? Sure.
You never knew where the road would take you, thought Renato.
Yeah. Maxed out that combo.
That had been his mistake before, not trusting Zenobia's feelings for him. But how could he have known, after all these years of silence?
Okay, I have
This
been here
is
before.
quite the view, he thought.
Because I've gotten this before. XZGL, aka Rashi. I'm Bounce Elrag. Thanks for the host, guys. Is there anything this way? There's a hook. I'm definitely going to go back. Alright. I think I've done this before.
Renato wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles.
Go. Nice big chest. It's alright, it's worth it doing these things again. What is this? Elemental resistance. Oh, okay. Well, it's just taking me back here anyway, so. Like a ninja.
Sleep tight, thought Renato.
Oh, I didn't see the counter off screen. It's cheating.
Ah, a puzzle. Renato loved puzzles. Except when he couldn't figure them out. On the other hand, if there was a puzzle, it was probably meant to keep people away from something good.
His mother never let him wave his sword around at home. He guessed he was still compensating for that.
Took a lot of damage for this chest. For a whole lot of nothing. There's another chest over here. Nice. Well, that was worth it. Ah, and level up. Nice. The dash. Oh yeah, I want to dash through people.
There it was. Skyripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate,
No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
Alright, so I need view stores. I'm trying to figure out how this works. Okay, so rescue Lapino, find the armature. So I did the core second. So let's go with her then, right? Find the gem. Alright, so I've done these, but so either choice is fine.
It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good, no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
Because the other book tells me what I've done. Which I've done I've done the armature with both of these already.
Doubt sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarer. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense?
Alright, so that makes me go down. I remember that.
The road less traveled, thought Renardo. How intriguing.
This was just the resistance. I have Shieldbreaker 3 and the kill. Okay. I've not been this way because I've not read that one.
Renato danced around the room yelling, "Oh yeah, that's how we do it." It was something he liked to do, but only after he'd killed all the witnesses.
Just health? That was it? Lame. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, up the steps. Duh. 'Cause I did this last. I'm not really worried about breaking anything. Was this new?
How could you convince a firewall?
This is
you're its
definitely
friend?
new. I don't think I went this way at all. Aha.
You almost never saw wild gogglers
Dang
together
it.
like this. The toads had to train them not
thought
to
I got
peck each
it.
other to death.
Nope.
So these had to be Imperial gogglers. That meant ravens were up ahead.
Could just dash through that one.
Take a leap of faith, said the inscription.
Get him.
Fresh socks, thought Renato. Please be fresh socks.
Nope.
There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest. The mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be. Of course there was a puzzle. You couldn't expect the Transcendent Emperor to bury a god's eye in a leather sack where anyone could pick it up. Hey, you're kind of cute. Not really.
Knocked him right off. Let's keep using the fire sword.
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. And he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there.
I haven't done the
before he
bottom one,
fights.
so I'm going to do that one.
Renato had never been much of a student. At Swordfu School, he'd never read the books, just looked at the pictures. And Zenobia. But weapons he understood. His gut told him that the Sky Ripper would work great. He would use it to take out the Imperial outpost. And what's the worst that could happen? The thing wouldn't work, and then he'd take it to the scientists, right? Renato actually could think of a few things that were worse. But he would make sure they didn't happen this time. Right?
Exactly. As he set out down the path, Renato wondered why the parts of the Sky Ripper had only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had discarded it. This Emperor, Isengrim III, had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Perhaps that was bringing up lost artifacts. How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction.
And hopefully this time, just his destruction.
Here, fishy!
All kinds of goodies in that one.
The new pathway made Renato curious.
I like my increase. Did I increase my speed?
A present? For me?
Yeah, just health.
He was tired of slaughtering ravens. Maybe it was time to test out the new weapon. He turned a knob on the Sky Ripper. It made strange, mechanical noises. The wheels spun faster. It began to hum.
The Sky Ripper was following his every step. At least it acknowledged him as the master. But there was no trigger. How was he supposed to fire it? Fire, he said. Nothing happened. Well, maybe it just needed to warm up. After all, it hadn't been fired in thousands of years.
Smashing things was fun.
What am I missing? Just... Oh, I got this one up. I'm just missing the order level of the, Oh, I'm liking the Sky Ripper.
The Sky
Invincible.
Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them.
Renato had a thought. Please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame.
Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire. The base was his. The far-speaker toad came hopping out.
Renato!
It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia.
Don't use the Sky Ripper. It will destroy the world.
Yeah, sure it will, cracked Renato. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras.
That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating.
Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the Council so the rebels could actually win the war. But what if she was right? Damn it.
Let's do this one.
Zenobia was so frustrating. If she couldn't get you with magic, she'd get you with reason and sensible arguments. Of course, Calaveras, he might not know the latest scientific theories with evidence and all, but Renato preferred the knowledge in the old books anyway. What they said felt true, and that's what's important. He should be careful. She'd probably guess he'd come here. That meant she'd probably set an ambush for him.
Duh.
Renato landed on the island, expecting Zenobia's ambush at any moment.
God, after all these years, she still drove him crazy. Oh, unless they were part of the ambush. The obvious reasons he was meant to see to take his mind off the ones he wouldn't see. There did seem to be a lot of ravens around here.
Let's go this way.
That was awesome!
I'm gonna take some damage there.
He was practically sure he'd find something useful in one of these things.
Let's go down here and use the ice door. Ooh. Lots of war. I'm getting close to that 100. Oh, double whammy on the chest.
Renato had always wanted a flying carpet. This was more like a flying tabletop, but it would do.
Zenobia's ambush never materialized. Could she be sincere? Calaveras was a great scholar. Renato doubted even Zenobia could convince him to say something he didn't believe. And if he was working for the Empire, he'd never have told Renato about the Sky Ripper in the first place. Well, he would listen to the wise old toad. But that didn't mean he had to agree.
Couldn't they have put in an elevator? Or a giant eagle? Or
Keep
something?
going this way.
There was a cat in this one. And something useful.
Oh, I lost one. It's alright.
Bam! Welcome to Earth. Renato told the corpses. It was something he'd seen in a play once.
That's from Independence Day.
To his alarm, Renato realized that the rebels had no way of knowing he had a powerful new weapon. They might set off on their attack on the fleet before he could bring the Sky Ripper to the fight. He had to hurry, while there were still rebels to save. As for the gate, well, he could take her or leave her. Sorry. It's best I could do.
Come on, Renato, you can make it. Level up, yeah! Yeah, let's grab this one.
Calaveras examined the Sky Ripper eagerly.
What? How often does a new relic surface?
He brushed off Zenobia's warning.
Oh, what do sorceresses know about physics?
However, he did know a few ways to make the weapon even more precise and more powerful, and quickly went off to tinker. Soon the Sky Ripper no longer whined, but thrummed like a hummingbird taking off.
Nice.
It was ready for war.
And so, Renato thanked Calaveras and took the legendary weapon to the final battle. But where were the other rebel ships? Had something happened?
He could defeat the Imperial fleet with the Sky Ripper, but he couldn't govern. He was not cut out to be emperor, and he'd no desire to be one.
There were a few rebel ships here and there, but there was no organization to the battle. Where was the Council flagship? Something had gone terribly wrong.
But he had the Sky Ripper, and the Ravens had nowhere they could hide.
Let's go this way. I need the oars.
He hadn't noticed that path before.
That's it? Come on. It's like the third time I've done this.
The Council speaker was on the deck, bleeding. Why was she even here? They found our base, she croaked. The Council, all dead. We must surrender.
No, we can still win this, said Reynardo. I have the Sky Ripper. He would be a real hero and save the day, even when all appeared to be lost.
You're a good boy, said the speaker.
Oh.
And then she died.
But I'm gonna get this chest first. So how did I miss that hook?
Power. If the device was a woman, he'd buy it a drink. Reynardo wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
Nope. Actually, I don't even think this game lets you fall. Oh, there it is. Blow them up.
He fired the Sky Ripper. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. And for good measure, he played the beam around it, setting all the other nearby Imperial ships on fire too. And he watched them burn.
See? He could use the Sky Ripper safely.
The few remaining rebels gave a cheer. And then they stopped cheering.
Uh-oh.
There was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger,
crates were falling off ship decks, upwards into the hole. And the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror as it poured into the ravenous hole. He guessed that somewhere behind that ever-widening hole were gods that had long been exiled. But it didn't really matter. Time was done for here, and soon it was. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up, like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
I did a little bit different. Alright, I'm going to end there, and thanks for watching, and I'll see everybody tomorrow with Star Wars Battlefront.